I don't know what video number this is. I feel like I have to number the videos even though I never do. I'm feeling depressed as shit. I just want to sleep and forget everything. I went down to the council to figure out what was happening with my accommodation, whether or not the council would help me. And I needed to get my papers of liability to show that I worked. The website was not taking my details. I spoke to a lady on the phone saying that a letter from my employer would suffice. I got the letter from my employer and then called them while I was at the council place, and they told me that wouldn't work out, despite telling me straight to my face, well, on phone call, that would work. Then I find out that they sent back my stuff. They sent back all my papers that I had given them to get accommodation because I didn't have my papers of liability, despite me not actually being able to get my papers of liability because the revenue office was not sending anyone the papers of liability out. It didn't say that on the website, and no one told me that in the council. I'd speak to an entirely different woman on the phone for that to become apparent. I feel like I bruised my eye or something. Jesus Christ. My eyes look bruised. Just out of curiosity. I do this a lot with my eyes. I rub them like this. I might be casually bruising them, though. So that happened. However, they didn't send me my stuff back because I'm refused accommodation. They're still trying to get me accommodation. I don't really know how much I trust them anymore, but apparently they're still trying to get me accommodation. However, I'm not focusing. I send them back all the necessary paperwork. They just couldn't hold everything in their offices, apparently. I don't know how the fuck that happens. Can you not just get another cabinet and put the paperwork in? Like, I don't get it. You're a government office. You should have space for all the paperwork. Fuck it. That's what offices are for, aren't they? I'm pissed. I'm so pissed. Technically, however, this has made my job easier, as I was talking to the lady on the phone who actually seemed somewhat competent at her job and wasn't just saying yes, no, maybe to everything I fucking said, and was actually giving me very detailed information as to what I was supposed to do and why I wasn't able to get my papers of liability. She was the one that informed me. So as much as I resent having that conversation and wished it could never have happened, and just wish that things had turned out the way I thought they would from the beginning, which is I do exactly as I'm told and get exactly what I was promised, as it should be. But she told me that after I explained a little bit about my work situation, I probably didn't even work long enough to pay tax. She's like, oh, then you don't need to get your papers of liability. You just have to get a statement from socialwelfare.ie that says, that gives a list of my income from the social welfare, from the dole, because I'm on the dole. My parents are not a fan of me working, I don't think. Though they're being very nice to me right now, so I feel like I'm making everything up. The joys of being a gaslighting survivor. The minute someone is nice to me, I think, oh, well, you didn't punch me in the face, did you? You just hit my face with your fist lightly. I guess that technically doesn't qualify as a punch, That is literally where my mind goes to when someone is nice to me. That's why I put up with my ex for so long. I had to remind myself in my head that I'm not a fucking bitch for not accepting a really badly worded apology from someone who would be nice to me once. So essentially, I had a situationship with a man called Carl. God, I'm just gonna need to make vlog after vlog after vlog of all the men. I'm not even gonna lie to you, I'm like ran through like a train. Fuck. I'm not fit for marriage. I'll just title every video Jamie, Damien, Carl, Alex. It'll just be a bunch of videos with male names on them, and it'll just be me bitching about these dudes. My god, I'm not a misandrist. Like, I like masculinity more than I like femininity. The entirety of my life, I have gotten far, far much better with men. You know? And when I was a kid, little boys. Women scare me. I like femininity, but I don't really understand it. There's something in me that relates to the way men speak and behave. I don't know what it is. It's part of the reason I do believe that there might be a male and a female brain, even though that kind of a binary, I don't believe it would eradicate the existence of people with in-between brains, or trans brains, or anything like that. Quite the opposite. I think if there are differences between men and women, it would actually validate the existence of transgender and non-binary people, because if there's blue and purple, if there's blue and pink, then there could be purple, right? Just making it out like men and women don't have any differences at all is ridiculous. Like, there's a lot we need to understand about each other regarding our similarities, because the world of pink and blue, I know I use that phrase, but like, I was meaning just in color, but the world of pink and blue that straight heterosexual cisgender people have created is so ridiculously damaging. Like, how the fuck do neurotypicals interact with each other? I remember my dad telling me that all his friends thought it was weird he had female friends in college. That was a generation ago. What the fuck? It was like we're told so many lies about the opposite gender and how different we are that becomes impossible for us to socialize normally, because in our head we're just thinking about the other gender as if it's like a fucking space alien. It's like, I understand we need to like absolutely look at each other and see the similarities, but I do believe that there are differences. Biologically, not as much as people make out there to be, but there's got to be some. But even just like socially and culturally, the way we've been raised, the way this ridiculous society fucking raises boys and girls. Anyways, accommodation. I am tasked now with getting income statements that I've already given them. But I have to have these income statements that says I've been getting the dole for this amount of time. Specifically from the year 2020 to the end of the year 2022. 2022 to the end of 2022. And then the most Herculean task of all. I was get my parents to write me a note that says I've been staying here. I don't think they won't do it because they're secretly manipulative assholes out to get me, although I do believe that. Jesus Christ, did I get hit in the eye, or... This better be some lighting shit. Am I fucking catching jaundice? Have I finally caught scurvy? Okay. Oh no, it's just lighting. My finger's yellow too. Fuck. Genuinely, I have to worry if I'm catching scurvy around here. No more bitching now. Second half of this video is going to be dedicated to more my ex stories. I gotta make another video on what that whole trip was like. So I need to remind myself that he's awful, so I can stop thinking about him. I have to get them to. I don't think they're not going to do it because they're secret manipulative assholes, although I do believe that. It's just that it's going to take forever to get them to finally sit the fuck down and do it. So I don't know. In theory, my fucking task is being made easier. I only have 2 things to get now, but in practice, it's probably going to be by next year by the time that I get my dad to sit the fuck down and write me that note, because he never fucking does anything that anybody asks, no matter how important it is, the minute that you ask him to. And I get that because I'm autistic and I run on my own fucking schedule, but you're a father of 4 children. You have a very busy life and many responsibilities. Like, you cannot let executive dysfunction fuel every excuse when you've taken on so goddamn much. And if you know you're not the kind of person who can sit down and do something immediately when they're asked to and remember stuff, then why? Why move your wife and children, well, your wife when she had a child and her baby in her womb, to the middle of fucking nowhere where it's nearly guaranteed, unless she learns how to drive, which she can't because she is traumatized by your brother's motorcycle crash and never wants to get on the road again. Genuine, that happened. My mom does not drive because Uncle Mickey was killed on a motorcycle. He crashed into a tree and that was it. Dead. Tomato paste. Went to go meet his maker. And it is basically guaranteed from now on she and all of her children, of which she decided to have 4. I love my siblings, but I have to admit this was a bullshit move on my parents' fucking behalf. 4 fucking kids. We were having trouble feeding the 2 you already had. You know? We're having difficulty with me and my sister. Why the fuck would you have more? I don't fucking get people who think that another child will solve their problems. And then you can't do the shit that people need of you when you ask, when you have created the situation of dependency. Maybe I'm being too hard on my dad. I'm very tired. God. Yeah. My mom has been saying that she'll drive for years. Eventually she'll get over her anxiety. Maybe she just tricked him or something. Maybe she genuinely thought she'd be able to be independent in any way one day. Face ball. Fuzzy face ball. Isn't that cute? The one good fucking thing this week that's fucking happened is I got my fuzzy face ball. I had to get a new piercing. The metal one was falling out of my face, so this was less of a luxury and more of a necessity. I haven't been good, to be quite frank. I can't stop thinking about my ex. I think I'll make the rest of this video just me bitching about him. I don't know where I left off regarding the incident. Essentially, he borderline raped me. I don't know if I qualify it as rape. Everybody else in my life says it's rape. I don't know if he planned it, if it was an accident. I think I left off where he yelled at me. So, no, that's where I left off. I was saying how my childhood had created this situation where I regressed voluntarily and involuntarily during sex. And it's my way of, well, it's a trauma response. It's like PTSD. It's like when you get a veteran home for the 4th of July and they start fucking freaking out and thinking that fireworks are bombs. because that's what they're fucking used to. They're fresh out of war. And you got someone like me who's molested as a kid, and during sex, they just start fucking. Their mind goes back to the first time it happened. And you start talking like you're 4. And that's disturbing as shit. Disturbing as fuck. But it's kind of healing in a way if I use it voluntarily. If I kind of, I don't know, lead myself through the process of getting myself reacquainted with sex. It's a thing most rape survivors will do, is that they will recreate a situation and that mirrors the traumatic thing they went through, but this time there are tweaks to it. So maybe this time I'm pretending I'm 4, but you're not, the uncle that abused me. You're my loving boyfriend or loving girlfriend. And we use code words for things that basically allow me to feel safe. So, like, instead of just, in order to alleviate the feeling of being dirty or that it's scary or sad, I might pick words for, I don't know, like my pussy, something cute, something childlike, something that will regress me but in a positive way and make the entire thing seem less frightening. I might feel out of control because I'm a submissive, but I'm out of control with someone I love who will not hurt me. And that was what I was doing with Jamie. Oh shit, I said his name. Oh fuck. Whatever. He's never gonna see this. No one from my life is gonna see these fucking videos. Yes, that's what I was doing with Jamie. And, he knew this. He was the one who got to see me realize I had likely been molested. I say likely because I'm not sure. In my life. Yeah. He knew about this phenomena with rape victims. And he took me choosing age regression. Well, he chose age regression because I was allowing him to pick between that and my vibrator because I was such a people pleaser. I still wanted him to feel in control. And I couldn't choose. I was very torn. Could have done both. Why didn't that occur to me? He chose age regression and took that as a sign he should just hit me and slap me and punch me in the gut. After I'd actually asked him to give me warning twice. But she only started doing violent things with me when we were alone in my caravan instead of in a hotel room. I don't know if there's any significance to that, but I would figure that would make someone feel more unsafe to do fucked things with someone. Like, we were right outside my parents' house. I could just go in and get my dad and be like, I want this fucking boy gone. Go grab him by the scruff of the neck and fucking, I don't know, march him home. Slap him around a little bit and make sure he doesn't fucking come around here again. Like, I don't understand. If that was a manipulative thing he was doing, why did he think being at my house would be more safe than a hotel room? In a town where if he wanted to do something fucked to me, he could just leave the hotel room, get a cab, and go back to Dublin. Lose himself in a crowd. Must have just felt more comfortable or something. So, yeah. I started crying, and the only reason that I let this go on because Jamie's actually quite physically small and weak. I could have overpowered him very easily, but the reason it lasted for any lengthy period of time was because I was not mentally myself. I was age regressed enough at that point that I was viewing everything through the fucked up lens of an abused child's perspective. Why is Daddy doing this to me? Was I bad? Oh no. That was literally the shit that goes through my head. Like when I'm having a spiral, that's one thing that I don't really talk about to a lot of people because it's like really sad. When I'm having a spiral, there'll be repeated thoughts and phrases that will go through my brain. I think it might be an autistic thing or a trauma thing, I don't know. Probably both. But when I'm having a spiral, if it gets bad enough, the phrase, "I'm a good girl," will repeat in my head over and over again, and I was upset enough that that's where I was for a full 5 minutes while he was fucking slapping me around like I was a fucking sandbag. And then when I told him to stop and I didn't like that, and what the fuck was the safe word again, he yelled at me, "I thought you were okay with these things," and turned away from me. I tried to comfort him. Don't ask me why, I really wish I didn't. And said sorry for whatever tiny role I had to play. In my case, it was that we hadn't had a really good conversation on kinks and such. We had role played before, but there were never any lists made of yes, no, maybe. Partly because there was never any discussion on his end that he was gonna slap the fuck out of me. It just happened one day. I just said, "Give me a warning," and that was it. So I said sorry for the little tiny role I had to play, partly with an expectation that you have anything to say to me, Jamie. But nothing. And then that was when the relationship died. No more conversations into the night. He blamed it on work. No more coming out to see me at my house. Barely any seeing each other at all. One time we went for a date and he literally told me, "I'm going out to the video game store. I've got some CDs to sell. Do you want to come with me, maybe?" Like, he cannot make it more obvious that he did not fucking want to be with me. But he never called it quits. And at that point, I was reeling from what had happened regarding the incident. And genuinely, if I had been honest with myself about what that was, I think I would have killed him. Or myself. So I was in denial. I was like, it was just a mistake. He really does love me. He just needs to prove it to me. Because if he doesn't prove it to me, I might have to kill him. Or myself. Because most of the time, for every traumatic situation if there's a situation of high stress, there is a Rolodex going on in my brain of alters talking. One alter will be like, "Kick his face in." Another alter will be like, "Cry in a corner so that he feels sorry for you." Another alter will be like, "Let's just go outside and not think about this ever again." Another alter will be like, "Just start singing and acting happy." Another alter will be like, "Let's just go commit suicide. Why don't we do that?" Point is, all my horrible coping mechanisms are in my head 24/7, and I do have an option in a traumatic situation to pick one. A lot of traumatic situations, they're really bad and confusing. I just feel like I'm led along by a response. I'm just taken over by something, and it's over, and I'm like, why the fuck did I do that? What just happened? But if there's enough time in a traumatic situation for me to think, then there is a Rolodex going on there. There is a bunch of alters talking. There is, like, some choice, at the very least, that I get to make. You know? A lot of times it doesn't feel like a choice, but there is something. There is some free will going on, or at the very least, perception that I do get to choose my response. And, usually I can predict what I'm going to do. However, when I thought back to that situation that happened between me and Jamie, Lord fucking Voldemort himself, fucking, he should not paint Can't even call him Lucifer, because Lucifer's probably a good guy in comparison to Jamie. Lord Satan himself had nothing on my ex. When I thought back to that situation between me and Jamie, I couldn't predict what I was going to do. I couldn't make predictions in any way, because, like, I don't know, that situation was so confusing for me. Usually my kind of response is, if I get raped, fight as hard as possible, because I think that's what everybody thinks is going to happen if they get raped. Which suggests that there's only one type of rape scenario. Weird masked man, complete stranger, pops into your house and just tackles you to the ground. Like, that's one kind of rape situation, and not everybody's gonna respond the same. And honestly, fighting, even though that's like, I don't know, it's always presented as the good thing to do, I'm beginning to think now that the only reason that's presented as a good thing to do is because virginity is highly prized. Therefore, if it's taken from you, even unconsensually, you're still ran through, you're still not a virgin. You have to protect your virginity. Because society values that for some reason. God knows why. The other reason might be that when you go to court and you accuse someone of rape, I think sometimes people judge you on the way that you did or didn't respond to it. So if you're the kind of person who fawns in a trauma situation, so you try to people please the fuck out of this dangerous person, which honestly is less likely to get you killed. So it's probably the smarter response. Fight if you can, but if you know you can't, do whatever you need to do. It doesn't fucking matter. Your dignity, you still have dignity no matter what the fuck you had to do. That's what I'm saying. Just make sure you're not killed, not hurt, not maimed, and then get the fuck away from them or that situation. But I think sometimes people are like, oh, you made your rapist breakfast the next day? You stayed in a relationship with them for this many years, trying to convince yourself that it wasn't what it was. You allowed them, because that's a thing you can do. Allow someone to do that to you. You told them you liked it. Well, obviously you weren't raped then. Even though you said that you were in that highly dangerous situation and were pressured heavily, or they just started choking you, or whatever reason to indicate that it was forced, you went along with it for your safety, well, then it wasn't rape. I understand that at times people make up rape allegations, definitely. Sometimes people think things are rape when they're not. I'm still confused as to what Jamie did to me. I don't know what the fuck that was. It took me a long time after a relationship to come to terms with my feelings, and ask enough outside perspectives, one of which was a rape forum for people, I don't know, it wasn't just friends and family I asked, it was people on rape forums as well, who had been raped and such like that, so I had some experience. So maybe that's why it's such a thing that you gotta fight your rapist. Maybe that's why they make it like the best option, when the best option is whatever the fuck means you get out alive. That's the best option. And your dignity is not impacted. It doesn't make you any less of a person, any less of a courageous person. And I think I don't like that as well, that fighting the intruder off, the violator off, is an act of courage. No, it's fucking not. The courage, honor, dignity, they all go out the goddamn window. It's a situation of survival. What are you trying to do? Get a fucking medal? This isn't a competition. You're not gonna get a fucking medal. Your trophy is that you got out alive, that you got out safe, that you got out relatively unharmed. There's your fucking medal. You know? I also think it's people who really like the people who haven't experienced certain things in life have this mentality that it just won't ever happen to them. So when they think about a situation where they could be harmed, they're just like, oh, I'll just fight them off. Easy. Why doesn't anyone else do that? Like it's denial. It's wanting to believe that you'll never end up in a situation that is that horrendous and full of despair that you might not have choices like that. And that is exactly what defines those kinds of experiences in life, is a lack of choice. That is why they're traumatic. That is why the people who do those things to you are abusive. That is why people end up with PTSD from them. It is because you were in a situation where you have very limited choices. You know? You're not able to just be like, oh, I don't want to be raped today. You know? I'm just going to choose not to be raped. Hey, Mr. Rapist, I don't want to be got raped today, so could you just, like, go away? Swipey, say no, Swipey. Bye. This doesn't fit my schedule. Like, fuck. Fuck me. Just fight them off. If you could have, you would have. And it's also discounting the fact that so many people have very different trauma responses. Like, if you've learned as a small child that fighting people off, and I'm sorry, what child learns that? What child... I don't think the fight response is incredibly common, you know? And if it is, someone either had an upbringing where it was fight or die. That's not any better than fawn or die or freeze or die or flee, run away or die. It's like every trauma response, it's do this or die. Do this or get harmed. Do this or whatever, not mentally be able to cope. Do this or no choices, this or that. Pick one. Pick survive or die. You know, pick survive or insanity. Pick survive or like either they had a situation I feel like it's fight or die, or they had a situation where they learned they could fight. And I feel like that's why a lot of men that's why I feel like the fawn response is more common in women. I don't necessarily know if it's like completely based on our physical capabilities, because it is kind of fact that a lot of men are physically stronger and can overpower us. But with the right amount of training, a woman can go toe to toe with a man. Not all women, but like a fair percentage of us have been groomed into thinking, oh, you're just this delicate being that, can never go toe to toe with a man. When with the right amount of training and skill and work ethic and, I don't know, diet and whatever, maybe you could. You know? But society kind of grooms us into thinking we can't, and doesn't really offer. Where are my words? Grooms us into thinking we can't, based off of some biological differences that do exist, which those biological differences, all they say is it will be harder, but it's not impossible. You know? But it also grooms us into the fawn response from a young age. So it's partly likely a biological thing where it's like, if you don't fucking feel you can fight, then yeah, you're gonna be more likely to people please the fuck out of the dangerous situation. It's like you're pleading with the predator. You know? You're trying to placate them, calm them down. But it's also groomed into us because the fawn response is it's beneficial for women to have the fawn response if society wants to keep us in line. It's grooming us to be subservient, and it's grooming us to take whatever shit is handed our way. It grooms us to make everything that happens to us our fault, you know? He raped you, and you didn't fight him off? Well, it didn't happen then. What were you wearing? Oh, no wonder. Did you seduce him? Bitch, I was 5. Did you though? You knew what you were doing, you harlot. Yeah, some people do think like that. You might think I'm going out on a limb like there. But some evangelical Christian fundamentalists do absolutely fucking believe that children can seduce predators. You know, with their wily ways. Fuck me. Ugh. Is it the age of consent in the Philippines 4? Or is it there's a country in the world where the age of consent is 4, like the world is fucked. Might think I'm stretching out on a limb here, but nah. Some people believe that children seduce predators. Male, female, don't fucking matter, but especially women, because we got that devil seducing charm. What do you expect when you wear clothes like that? You just got boys are just visual creatures. Anyways, Jamie. Yeah, he took me to the store once. On a date. We went to go get coffee afterwards. What else did he do? He got me soap for Valentine's. Also, I should say I am bitching about him because I want to convince myself not to think about him. Because I want to believe I deserve better. Because I fucking do. Like, Jesus. He's someone in the world that is that fucking bad of a person that they deserve Jamie. He was terrible. He got me soap for Valentine's, and he got me soap for